What's up, everyone? We've got a new moon going down on March 10th, 2024. This is happening at 20 degrees Pisces in 16 minutes. If you can see on your screen, this is happening at close to the exact midpoint between Saturn and Neptune. This is going to be a planetary influence, a planetary combination of an influence that we're going to see increasingly palpable and defining for us in the collective over the next 2 years. So we're not going to see the exact conjunction of these two planets until the spring of 2026, but they're going to be moving within a few degrees of each other just a year from now, both at the end of Pisces and in early Aries. So this is going to be a signature that I feel we're going to be increasingly aware of from this new moon forward, because this new moon is basically seeding a new potential, seeding a new awareness around these two energies and how they're going to show up this time around. So this is a really big deal, folks, because Saturn and Neptune only conjoin once, roughly about every 37 years, I want to say. I think don't quote me on that. It's like 37 years about is every time that we're going to see the unification of those. And yeah, the last time we saw them was in Capricorn, and that was in 1989, I believe. So when we saw the fall of the Berlin Wall. So that's an event that astrologers like to use to reference what this planetary energy really encapsulates, because we saw a wall come down. So Neptune's dissolving qualities can dissolve order, can dissolve laws, regulations, rules, societal order. And the other thing that I would bring into this is just borders in general. And I know that that's something that is a hot topic right now in the United States, is like this idea of borders and how secure a border should be, for example. And so Neptune is going to have this dissolving effect, a loosening of borders. Could we see that in its applications with the refugee crisis? I mean, we're about to have a bigger refugee crisis in the Middle East with everything going on. And so what does that mean for borders in other nations, for example? And yeah, some other things that I think about too is just like laws, because our world is changing so much. We're in an age of air, we're in a technological age. So yeah, like the rules and expectations of how we're supposed to run as a society are really changing. And so Neptune is going to have that effect. We had the Saturn-Uranus square recently. That was in 2021. And that really tried to define like work from home as more of like a status quo thing for people, or just like something that is more of an option for people. And now what we've seen, now that that aspect has worn off, is just like people trying to get people to go back to work, and people are just like, no, that's not happening. That's not going to work. And so I feel like the Saturn-Neptune conjunction is going to have an influence on that, like the expectations around where we work and when. I also think it'll have major implications for healthcare, healthcare workers, the way hospitals are structured, because there's a big problem there. Like there's a lot of insecurity there, a lot of people leaving, quitting in droves because of burnout, among other things. So I feel like that's going to be a big aspect for healthcare workers and healthcare in general, as well as pharmaceuticals. I think there's going to be like Saturn's going to try to curb and control the boundlessness of, let's say, certain narcotics, like prescription narcotics. That's going to be something like Saturn's going to try to get a grip on Neptune things that are out of control, things that are hard to wrangle, things that are difficult to get a hold of. Meanwhile, Neptune's going to have this dissolving effect on Saturn. So we'll continue to explore that planetary combination further, but it'll be interesting to see kind of what comes up around this new moon in terms of those themes. And I think border is going to be a big one. Now, yeah, because it's already a topic. The planet which rules this lunation is going to be Jupiter. So we've got Jupiter in Taurus. Jupiter, that's a planet that creates possibility for us. It it's about like saying like, hey, what about this? What if we tried that? So Jupiter can also be of assistance here, especially when we're trying to figure out like what's not working and what do we need to do to reinforce this. So there's like a sense of something slipping away, this all pervasive Neptune thing of like something's infiltrating or something's coming, and Saturn is just like fear, worry, trying to control, trying to get the situation handled. Something else I think about like Neptune rules oil, and just like I just think of like an oil spill, like hard to contain that, like with Saturn. So trying to contain like a toxin where you don't know where it is. So like microplastics, for example, that could be something that Saturn-Neptune really cares a lot about. So there's a lot of big extremes coming in with this new moon. As I mentioned, Pisces is a sign of the highs and the lows, the ecstasy and the agony. So there's a great deal of contrast that's going on here. We've got Saturn, which is trying to limit, concentrate, distill, control. We've got Neptune, which is expansive and dreamy and numbing. So we've got like serious, cold, hard reality on a platter, Saturn, and we've got dreamy, fantastical Neptune. So we've got like this very high contrasting energy going on in our Pisces house right now. So there's like a strong disconnect. So I think strong disconnects in the world are going to be showing up, like the disconnect between the lavish and the extreme suffering. So coming off of this really Saturnian month that's kind of like showed us some difficult truths and has kind of like just brought us to face some heaviness, you know, this new moon is starting to help us to kind of connect with the new vision with Neptune. What is the hope? What is the dream? Where can we set our sights on in order to kind of help elevate? You know, Jupiter in Taurus, something that has done is it's increased the cost of living. It's increased the cost of basic necessities. And so, yeah, that's ruling the lunation. I talked about how that might be thematic with the Mars-Venus conjunction in a square with Jupiter and Uranus. And yeah, I almost wonder about that. Like if that's going to have some sort of influence here on this. Coming back to this theme represented here, I think in the collective of just like the strong disconnect between comfort and wealth and people who are struggling in various capacities, because a lot of people are. So I think that this new moon is really going to highlight that while also saying like, what can be done? What can be done? And what can we collectively hope is going to dissolve with the Saturn-Neptune? What kind of like order, limitations, and oppressive restrictions and, you know, the way things are run, what can we hope to dissolve here? So yeah, I think it's becoming more distilled in the collective. But other than that, this is kind of like a sleepier new moon. New moons tend to be more tired. The energy is lower. The new moon is kind of like calling us inward to reset and being like in between Saturn, which kind of like brings us down to earth and kind of slows things down, and dreamy, fantastical Neptune. I feel like this is another one of those, let's slow it down. And I know it seems like I've been saying that all month, but that is the energy of Saturn. Like slow down and focus on the necessities. What is absolutely necessary right now? What can you depend on? What can you put your faith in? That's what Saturn wants us to do. Although Neptune is kind of saying, but there's something else. What else is out there? Like, let's dare to dream a little bit with Neptune. So we're starting to come out of this Saturn a little bit. But as I mentioned in the Pisces season overview, there will be more. There's a lot of Saturnian influence right now, which makes it hard. It makes everything like we can't look away. Things are heavier right now. So yeah, be gentle with yourself on this Pisces full moon or new moon rather. Be sensitive, take it easy, and rest up because you're going to need it. And for right now, this is your astrology shot of the day, and I'll catch you next time. Bye. Thanks so much for tuning in with me today. For more astrology in your world, you can connect with me on all platforms at Astro Catherine. You can also study astrology with me. The Foundations of Astrology course is an 11-week mentorship. It begins on January 25th. You can visit my website for more details, where you can also book your year ahead astrology reading with me, where we'll get into your personal natal chart, transits, progressions, profections, and the solar return. I look forward to connecting with you. Till next time. Bye.